Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Thursday, February 29, 2024. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines this evening, Guyana, Brazil to advance infrastructural linkages, private sector integration, and defense mechanisms. CARICOM nations on track to meet 25 by 2025 target. Regional leadership support important to resolving Haitian crisis, says President Ali. Court appoints mediators to settle dispute between government and GTU. Silica City master plan expected by mid-2024, says Rodrigues. An engineer charged with shooting fiancé to death free. Now for the news in detail. Recognizing a timely opportunity to strengthen economic integration, the governments of Guyana and Brazil will be advancing cooperation in infrastructural connectivity, private sector integration, and greater defense mechanisms. President Irfan Ali on Thursday facilitated bilateral discussions with his Brazilian counterpart Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Rupasina Ryan was there and filed this report.
The heads of state reaffirmed their mutual commitment to the development of a partnership program between both countries for actions and practical measures which will deepen the bilateral cooperation and integration agenda. In addressing local and international media following this engagement, President Irfan Ali shared that the two sides discussed areas where the two economies can be integrated and the role of the private sector in this massive undertaking. The two nations will work towards organizing a mission from Guyana to Brazil in the second quarter of 2024, comprising officials of the government and the business sector to expand trade and investment between the two countries.
For Guyana and Brazil, there is an opportunity that is now. An opportunity that can highly integrate our economies and create enormous opportunities for the people of our two countries. We discussed not only the connectivity of infrastructure through roads, ports, air transport, but we discussed the connectivity of our people, the role of the private sector, the involvement of the private sector, and how we can get our private sectors more integrated.
Speaking on infrastructural linkages between both countries, President Ali informed that both countries will be working on the financial mechanism for projects that will further connect Guyana and Brazil.
We're going to put together a technical working group that would commence working immediately to develop a mechanism through which we can have the financing and mobilize financing for the deployment of investments on the various projects to link our two countries, especially the infrastructure link.
President Lula da Silva arrived in Guyana to address regional leaders at the 46th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM this week. The Brazilian leader shared that this is the first step in moving forward with a policy which will benefit both countries.
There's a vast field for the Brazilian business sector to make their investments in Guyana.
E há muito interesse da Guiana.
And on the other side, there's a lot of interest of Guyana for the integration process.
Permita que a Guiana possa ter acesso aos produtos agrícolas brasileiros com mais
that will allow
facilidade,
Guyana to have access to Brazilian agricultural goods,
sobretudo a partir do seu vizinho mais próximo, o estado de Roraima.
especially through its most closest neighbor, which is the Roraima state of Brazil.
He also expressed his satisfaction with these engagements.
We should make it happen,
A integração
the
necessária
necessary integration
ao desenvolvimento da nossa região.
to bring development to our region.
Por isso,
So that's why I would like to communicate to you
eu saio daqui satisfeito,
that I leave this country very pleased,
agradecido pelo carinho,
and I acknowledge and thank you very
pela
much for all the warmth
hospitalidade do povo da Guiana.
and the hospitality shown by the people of Guyana.
Você
A joint statement after Thursday's dialogue said the presidents emphasized the need for greater momentum in the implementation of commitments by both countries to advance the bilateral cooperation and integration agenda, stressing the importance of effective monitoring and evaluation of agreed initiatives. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Once again, here is Rupa Sinarain to report that Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva stood firm on the position that his country does not support any acts of war, as it works on creating partnerships and peaceful outcomes that will bring about prosperity.
The Brazilian head of state made this disclosure as he addressed media operatives on Thursday, shortly after meeting with President Irfan Ali. The integration with Guyana, according to him, is part of a strategy towards working intensively to keep South America as a peace zone.
We don't need wars.
A guerra, ela traz destruição
War brings destruction,
de infraestrutura,
destroys
traz
infrastructure,
destruição de vida
destroys lives,
e traz sofrimento.
and brings suffering.
A paz
Peace
traz prosperidade,
brings prosperity,
traz educação,
brings education,
traz geração de emprego
brings job creation,
e tranquilidade aos seres humanos.
and tranquility to the human beings.
Esse é o papel que o Brasil pretende jogar
This is the role
Na
that
América do
Brazil
Sul.
intends to play in South
e
America
no mundo.
and in the world. We never had, and we don't want to have any kind of litigation whatsoever any country in the world.
O Brasil quer paz,
Brazil wants peace,
quer prosperidade,
prosperity,
quer crescimento econômico
economic growth,
e quer melhoria de vida do nosso povo.
and the improvement of the lives
Por
of our
isso,
people.
presidente,
These comments come weeks after President Irfan Ali and his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro met in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The meeting was initiated following concerns by regional leaders after the Maduro government held a referendum on December 3, 2023, to annex Guyana's Essequibo region, 2/3 of the country's territory. These talks were led by Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves in his capacity as President pro tempore of CELAC and supported by CARICOM. The Brazilian president also played a key role in organizing the meeting. Meanwhile, the Brazilian head of state will be attending the Summit for the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, slated for March 1, 2024, where he is hoping for peaceful outcomes.
And I do hope that we have a CELAC meeting
produtiva,
that will be productive,
harmoniosa
in harmony,
e que todos nós
and that all of us
saiamos de lá
should leave that meeting
falando em paz,
talking about
em
peace
prosperidade,
and prosperity,
em alegria,
enjoying,
em amor
in love,
e não em ódio.
and not in hatred.
Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
President Dr. Irfan Ali, who is leading the Caribbean Community's mission to reduce the region's high food import bill by 25% by the year 2025, said that its member states are on track to meeting this target. In this Vanu Manikchand report, you will hear that CARICOM is now working towards eliminating hunger and malnutrition in the region by 2030. Here are the details.
At the closing press conference for the recently concluded CARACOM Heads of Government meeting held in Guyana this week, President Dr. Irfan Ali, who is the current CARACOM chairman, disclosed that there was tremendous movement in achieving the region's food security targets.
On the 25 by 2025 goal, all the states are on track.
President Ali, who is also leading the charge on meeting the 25 by 2025 goal, noted that some countries have requested assistance in boosting their agriculture sector, and this was provided.
We came up with some specific initiatives that we can pursue in a very short time frame. The investment of a data analytics platform here in Guyana that will support the entire region. We spoke about the use of innovation, hydroponics. We spoke about the involvement of young people and women to push up production and to expand the pool of persons available for food production. So the conversation is around food production and the ecosystem around food production and not just agriculture. Agriculture is a component of food production. We spoke about agro-processing, the building out of a regional food hub, and the integration of that into a regional transportation plan.
According to the Guyanese leader, given this progress with the 25 by 2025 goal, CARICOM is now working towards a new target of reducing hunger and malnutrition in the region.
Our approach to food security is a holistic one, and that is why we We have made so much progress, and we are so confident about 2025 that I was comfortable enough to say that we are looking at 2030 now to end malnutrition and hunger within the region. And that is a target we are setting our eyes on, and we have commitment from all the member states on achieving this.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Once again, here's Vanu Manikchand, this time to tell us that the chairman of the Caribbean Community, President Dr. Irfan Ali, has underscored the importance of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, as a collective in providing support as well as leadership in resolving the prolonged economic, political, and social crisis in member state Haiti. More in this report.
At the closing press conference of the 4th CARICOM Heads of Government Conference, President Dr. Irfan Ali disclosed that more than 20 hours were spent by regional leaders discussing the difficult situation in Haiti.
It was a very, very frank discussion. It was a very difficult discussion, but this is of such importance to the region, and the region has to provide a leadership on this issue that we cannot avoid this at this time.
During the 3-day meeting of regional heads, Jamaica, Barbados, Dominica, and the Bahamas were tasked with pushing discussions on the Haitian crisis with international bilateral partners and Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Updates were also given by the Eminent Persons Group, which was established to represent CARICOM in talks with Haiti. However, Bahamas Prime Minister Philip Davis revealed that while regional leaders are concerned about the delays in resolving the political stalemate in Haiti, which has blocked the possibility of free and fair elections, there were some significant progress made during deliberations with the Haitian Prime Minister this week.
A number of major steps and concessions were made to move the political process forward, including, which we think is a significant step forward, holding of general elections to restore constitutional government and authority no later than the 31st of August 2025. We think that was a significant step in the right direction. We also appreciated that to have elections by then, there are there need to be an assessment as to the infrastructure that's been set up for the purpose of holding those elections. And to this end, we have agreed to set up an electoral needs gap assessment team, which will be put together, led by CARICOM and the United Nations, with the support of partners of Canada, USA, and the OAS. That committee will be put together and to report by the 31st of March, identify those gaps so that we can decide how to move the situation forward.
The Bahamian leader also dismissed claims of CARICOM's interference in Haiti, pointing out that it was a matter of the country not having the resources or capacity to deal with its crisis and reaching out for help. Meanwhile, President Ali has called for cooperation from stakeholders in Haiti.
And I want this message to be heard by all the stakeholders. That is, we are urging that each stakeholder must recognize that they will not obtain all they want, but Haiti must obtain what it needs. So every stakeholder in Haiti must also give in order for Haiti to get what it needs. What is important to note is that we are facilitating a Haitian-led solution, and that is key. Haiti is a priority, and we are approaching Haiti from a regional perspective.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
47-year-old Ian Griffith of Northeast La Penitence, Georgetown, was on Wednesday sentenced to 3 years and 1 month after he was found guilty of having 2.330 kilograms of cocaine in his possession. The ruling was handed down by Magistrate Ali at the Leonora Magistrates Court upon the conclusion of the trial. In addition, Griffith was fined $3.4 million. He was arrested on March 3, 2022 with the cocaine during an operation by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU, between Ruby, East Bank, Essequibo, and Danamstel on the west coast of Demerara. The street value of the cocaine at the time was $2.6 million. In August 2016, Griffith and another person were charged and remanded to prison after a quantity of cocaine was discovered in a suitcase belonging to a 14-year-old boy. Coming up on the other side of the break, engineer charged with shooting fiancé to death freed, and court appoints mediators to settle dispute between government and GTU. More news at the end of this short break.
Transitions Light Intelligent Lenses. Pick your color. Choose your style. Available at Optique Vision Care.
Experience more than award-winning speed. Way more. Get the best that LTE has to offer on Digicel, officially the fastest mobile network in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speedtest, recognizes Digicel as the best mobile network in Guyana. With the best LTE experience and the fastest data speeds, experience it all with Digicel, the award-winning network for everyone, everywhere.
Guyana's agriculture sector is receiving tremendous support from oil companies to aid its expansion. Investment from oil companies in cutting-edge technology is increasing and improving Guyana's agricultural output. SBM Offshore Guyana and ExxonMobil Guyana Limited support two of the largest hydroponics farms in the country. Their support not only creates employment for Guyanese, but also helps CARICOM to reduce its food import bill by 25% by 2020.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. To end the stalemate that has led to the ongoing 4-week strike action by teachers, the High Court on Thursday identified 2 mediators to advance talks between the government and the Guyana Teachers Union, something which Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal says is unnecessary. Here is Vanu Manikchand with the details.
The Guyana Teachers Union had filed court proceedings to block the government from, among other things, cutting the salaries of those teachers who have been on strike since February 5. During a hearing on Thursday, the presiding judge, Justice Sandil Kisoon, named 2 mediators in the persons of Senior Counsel Edward Lockwood and Senior Counsel Robin Stobie, with the view of resolving the ongoing stalemate between the government and the GTU. Those mediatory talks will commence on Friday at the High Court, but Attorney General Anil Nandlal believes it is unnecessary.
I explained to the court that the government is ready, willing and able to resume engaging the union. The government never stopped engaging the union. The union attended a meeting up to the 31st of January and then decided to go on strike. There is no bad relations, there was no animosity expressed at that meeting. In fact, a date was fixed for the meeting to resume on the 21st of February. And the people decided to strike. The government is prepared to meet with them in the same way that they met with them all the time since 2020.
Last week, the High Court granted conservatory orders for the government to, among other things, continue paying teachers who are on strike until the court proceedings are determined. On Wednesday, however, Justice Kisoon ordered Chief Elections Officer Saddam Hussein to rescind a circular issued to regional education officers to continue documenting the names of teachers who are absent from work. Despite this, however, Vice President Bart Jagdeo contends that the salaries of those teachers on strike will eventually be cut.
We intend to follow the interim order. We don't know what the outcome will be. But let me just make it clear. We will continue to collect information on those who are absenting themselves from the classroom, the teachers.
The Vice President, meanwhile, urged teachers to return to classrooms and not be further misled.
My fear is that they're misleading teachers into believing that the matter is resolved and they can strike as long as they wish and they will be paid forever. We believe, based on what we have seen, the President, that this matter will be determined in favor of the principle that has long been established, and the deductions, if taken at that time, would be harsher for the teachers. I'm urging the teachers not to be misled by what you hear from the union.
Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manik-Chand.
The master plan draft for Silica City, Guyana's inaugural modern and sustainable city project, is expected to be available by mid-2024. Here are the details from Trishelle Sobers.
This announcement was made by Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodrigues, during a televised program. Silica City will be established along the Suzac-Linden Highway in the vicinity of La Luni. The project aims to address the impact of climate change and rising sea levels, as well as the issues associated with the growth of non-coastal urban settlements. Minister Rodrigues says the project will further be advanced when the master plan is in government's possession.
You would have seen last year there was a delegation here from the University of Miami, and we signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Miami for them to deploy all of their experts in architecture and design so that they can do the master plan for Silica City. They have to, I think, about 6 months to get back to us on a draft. So I think about mid this year, we should be in possession of a draft of this master plan.
The project has set aside some 3,800 acres of land, and work on infrastructure is already underway. This includes creating 100 residential homes, in addition to shopping centers, apartment complex, condos, hotels, restaurants, and other facilities. Minister Rodrigues explained that the project is still in the first phase, and Guyana is seeking to develop approximately 10,000 acres of land.
So we want to do this properly, and we want to deploy the use of experts and people who have done this in other countries in Latin America, the Caribbean, and Europe, and around the world. So we're using their expertise to design Silica City so that it can achieve all of the objectives that we would like to achieve.
With its potential to become the nation's most sought-after location for contemporary, environmentally eco-friendly living, Silica City is a significant advancement in Guyana's developmental approach towards a sustainable and climate-smart future. In addition to green areas and other facilities, the state-of-the-art development will include smart homes outfitted with the newest energy-saving technologies. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The Berbice engineer who was charged with the murder of his fiancée back in November was on Wednesday set free by a Berbice magistrate after the prosecution failed to establish a case of murder. Andrew Carmichael has this story.
Berbice engineer Neil Madramutu, who was charged with the murder of his fiancée, Ashmin Mahadio, was on Wednesday set free by magistrate Peter Yu. Mahadio of Williamsburg Quarantine took her last breath on November 13th, and Madramutu, who was initially charged with attempted murder, was subsequently charged with murder after her passing. Police legal advisor Mondell Moore represented the case, while attorney-at-law Nigel Hughes represented the accused. The prosecution had been relying on a dying confession together with some evidence in relation to a firearm found at Majumotu's home. However, Hughes challenged the evidence that was represented by the prosecution, stating that the prosecution built its case on circumstantial evidence while also challenging the prosecution's reference to a dying declaration. As such, he made a no-case application, which the court upheld and freed the 29-year-old resident of Shoe Lane, New Amsterdam. Majumotu took her last breath at the New Amsterdam hospital 1 month after the shooting incident. She was initially admitted at the Georgetown Public Hospital, but was transferred to the New Amsterdam Hospital. She was reportedly shot to the neck at her Williamsburg quarantine home on October 1, 2023. At the time of the shooting, the couple was packing items in Majumotu's company vehicle to take to Port Morant. It had been reported that the fiancé had initially told the woman's relatives that he did not know what had transpired and even suggested that she was shot during a robbery. He also said he did not know where her cell phone was and also could not locate his when investigators requested Majumotu's phone. However, both phones were subsequently discovered in a vehicle that Majumotu had access to. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
The government of Guyana is actively considering establishing a national water council to manage the usage of water across the 83,000 square miles of Guyana. This was disclosed by the minister within the Housing and Water Ministry, Susan Rodrigues, during a recent televised program. Trishelle Sobers has this story.
Guyana's low-carbon development strategy, which was crafted by the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration, caters for the establishment of a national water council. On this note, Minister Rodrigues said developing such a body will play a critical role in addressing the pressing need for efficient water management amid challenges posed by climate change. Further, she disclosed that works will soon commence on a water use policy to govern the function of the council.
Looking at a national water council that will have oversight of all of the sectors that use water. So it's not just potable water, but all of the sectors. So this includes agriculture, it includes hydromet. And this is to ensure that water is used responsibly and that we have proper mechanisms to preserve and conserve water. And that's been missing from our architecture in terms of water use. So we want to get that policy done and that council in place.
In addition to policy initiatives, the government is taking concrete steps to improve access to potable water, particularly in hinterland regions. Minister Rodrigues announced plans to drill an additional 40 wells in the hinterland, supplementing the 75 wells already drilled in the past 3 years. This initiative aims to address water scarcity issues in remote communities and enhance water security.
So we have several communities still that's how they receive their water, through rainwater harvesting or a creek or a stream, or a hand-dug well in some cases too. So that's why we are so aggressive in the hinterland, and we've set ourselves a target of 100% 100% access to water, so that people can have access to a well, and also we accompany that well with a photovoltaic system, with pumps, extra storage for the villages, and the distribution network.
Since assuming office in August 2020, more than 35,000 applicants have gained first-time access to potable and treated water through the People's Progressive Party Civic's Administration Comprehensive Water Accessibility Program. Minister Rodrigues emphasized that this significant expansion is part of the administration's national agenda that advocates for the implementation of sustainable water management practices. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The Health Ministry in Guyana has received a generous donation of $1.36 million from the Chinese medical delegation aimed at strengthening resources for local doctors and healthcare professionals. Michael Henry has the details.
On Wednesday, the Chinese medical team led by the Chinese ambassador handed over medical supplies to the tune of $1.36 million to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. Among the items donated were cutting-edge medical equipment such as the EndoNext 4K ICG endoscopic system, various laparoscopic non-invasive grips, and much more. Chinese Ambassador HAITIAN underscored the strengthened functions of the existing medical centers and the proposed uses of the donated items.
I'm happy to see that the current team they are not focusing in establishing new centers. They're focusing on strengthening the function of the existing centers. So the donation today is most welcome. It will be used for these 6 centers and for the professional departments of the Georgetown Hospital. I think it's very good. So with the booming of the Guyana's economy, I know the Guyanese government attaches great importance to the development of medical and health sector. So we are at a new starting point to upgrade our cooperation.
Pleased at the initiative, the Health Minister expressed gratitude for the much-needed donation. Whilst on the topic of the initiative taken, he hits at foreseen challenges within the next 2 years.
One of the biggest challenges that we'll have in another 2 years or so is that, as you see before you, there are a number of models here. These are all new hospitals that we're building. And we would like to have a number of local specialists who can work in these hospitals.
The explained foreseen challenges highlighted the importance of training for recruited local specialists for the 6 new hospitals that will be built in collaboration with Sinopharm and Camp C. This is Michael Henry reporting for the Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, March 1, 2024 at 4 hours for 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 7 hours 30 on Friday, March 1, 2024, also for 1.5 hours.
Clive Lloyd to receive CARICOM Award. This and more coming up in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speedtest, recognizes Digicel as the network with the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Be it in Aishalton or in Etteringban, we got you covered.
Digicel, the award-winning network for everyone, everywhere.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Entrepreneurs, coconut byproducts are in high demand. How can you cater to that demand? By investing in a coconut shredder from Sylvie's. Guaranteed to increase your output, this 110-volt stainless steel machine shreds coconut in seconds, allowing you to also save on labor and time. From the shreds, you can create coconut powder, oil, milk, etc. Order yours now at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Street store.